Before we get to your scheduled video, please remember that likes and comments tell YouTube to promote our work to other people, and subscribing to the channel tells you when something new drops. You can also head to the link tree in the description to peruse my books, join us on Discord, or support us on Patreon. You can get episodes of Journey of Wrestling and Violent Profiles early, as well as a load of other treats. Even just $1 a month earns you a name drop for being cool. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Greetings and salutations, fellow spherical cows and vacuums. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey!
This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Before we get into talking about AEW Full Gear 2023, whoa! I just had a flashback to when we opened our podcast like that. It was the year of our Lord Cthulhu 20,023 or some shit.
Yeah!
Whoa!
The space calendar or whatever?
Yeah, wow. Man, it's almost like we've been doing this for almost 10 years.
So they say. They say.
Next year's going to be a fun one. But before we get into anything, we got to talk about who's cool. If you guys weren't here, sometimes I think about mixing it up and doing like the old PBS, this show is made possible by the support of viewers like you. But that sounds like a lot of work. So here I would like to extend gratuity in the gratitude. I'm not giving you, you're giving me gratuity. To cool people. Distrucity KTL. I kind of wanted to go back and make it longer for no reason.
You did. I saw it. I saw in his eyes the desire to make that bit even longer.
Harmony, Passion Killer 711, a guy from Ohio, and the King of the Mountain, the Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, Rob.
That's great. No notes. We're just talking about the wrestling thing now.
Yeah. They're cool because they give me $1 on Patreon. You too can become cool for the low, low price of literally $1 a month. I don't care if you're my worst enemy.
You pays your money.
I don't care if you change your screen name to Adolf Hitler. I might clarify that it's a screen name.
We won't be saying any slurs.
No, yeah.
Those aren't allowed.
I'm not monetized in the first place, so I'm not worried about that, but
I don't want to.
I'm already kind of shitty. I don't need help.
Right?
So yeah, let's get into Full Gear. Do you have any background you can go into about your approach to Full Gear?
He set me up here like I have a thing to say, and I fully don't know what he's talking about. So we're just going to talk about how I felt going into the show. I
just wanted a drink of my water.
Oh, good. I thought there was something that I had pre-established, and now it's gone.
You, in fact, said you hate every AEW wrestler and title belt. That was me.
I honestly was looking forward to this show. The card looked pretty good. The storylines going into this card have been okay to, mid. But the card itself looked to be good. And there was enough story for me to get invested, unlike, a Forbidden Door when the card might look like fucking Atomic Fire, but I don't care. Because there's nothing here. It's just guys wrestling.
Atomic Fire, a popular Mega Man 2 enemy weapon.
Good to know.
It's Heatman's.
Thanks. Is it a big lighter like him?
He's a big lighter. Atomic Fire is the first chargeable weapon, in fact. And it shoots a big, gloobly red and yellow thing that I assume is fire.
Well, we've all learned something today.
What did I learn?
What it's like to turn this podcast into a Mega Man podcast.
Like you. Pulling yourself away from Batman. Every time we sit down to discuss anything, so must I pull myself away from the Ninja Turtles and Mega Man.
Hey, it's fair enough.
You're
and
welcome.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Yeah. Imagine the viewers we'd get if that's what I talked about all the time. It'd be 4.
So, the first match of the pre-show was the Ring of Honor World Championship match. The first match of the pre-show.
Well, it's the first match of the AEW pre-show. See,
that's fair.
Also, AEW has absolutely turned Ring of Honor into Sunday Night Heat with its own titles.
It's NXT.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
on
even
its
know
own-
that it's NXT.
It's the black and gold NXT. It's
Yeah.
exclusively on a streaming network that you can buy for $10 a month. It's got its own shit going on. Probably has a lot more cool wrestling. And like it's the indie. It's even indier than AEW.
There's a lot that could be said about the place of ROH right now. But I won't.
And moving right along.
Yeah.
The match was fine, perfectly good. Eddie Kingston, as always, continues to be the, I believe, biggest turnaround of AEW history in terms of my opinion. He's great, and I love him. And the match was good, and he hit a fucking astoundingly hard-looking back fist to end it. He wins, and then he announced Tony Khan can't be stopped. He's a madman, and he must be stopped.
They're doing, I think, like 3 tournaments right now.
And the culmination to one of the tournaments is a Ring of Honor title having a champion. We'll get to that too. The culmination of the other tournament of the 2 that I know about, there also is apparently a secret third, which I totally believe, is another new championship for AEW. Another one. Now, we have since found out, it wasn't clear at the time, but we have since found out that it is going to be the combo link connecting the 2 titles Eddie currently has, the New Japan Strong title and IWGP. It's the New Japan Strong title.
I think that's all it's called. I don't think it's recognized by IWGP.
Oh, good. I just know like all their other titles are, so. And then
The Ring of
Honor title. And now the new fancy
Continental Championship.
which is just the World Championship. That's unless you have the Intercontinental Championship, which will go with it, because that's the Oceans.
WWE has 3 world titles, and it's one promotion, and I'm not even counting NXT.
Other people doing stupid shit doesn't make your shit not stupid.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying there's such a precedent for this. And never mind their Intercontinental Championship, their European Championship, their United States Championship.
It's just...
Sometimes the United States Championship is contested in other countries.
But so the Continental Classic tournament is going to result in the Continental Champion, who will become the Triple Crown Champion, although we don't know if that's going to be the name. It should definitely be the name. It shouldn't be Continental.
Well, Continental is the 3rd belt. Triple Crown is the combination of the 3.
But I don't know that that's... I will believe that's what they're going to call it when someone says that. Like Excalibur or something.
Yeah, remember the All-Atlantic Championship?
Yeah, I don't trust them, okay? But, so it'll be defended basically as 1 belt. So you're actually reducing the number of belts on AEW television by 1. But the other one's a New Japan title, so I don't care. You are essentially just rebranding the Ring of Honor World Championship title, the title in your whole Fed multiverse that has the longest, like, prestige. Why are you doing that?
I don't hate it because I'm not a Ring of Honor fan.
I imagine if you're a Ring of Honor fan, this must be like acid.
It's what the kids call molding, I believe. Yeah, this has got to be insufferable and infuriating. Why are you destroying the name? Not the legacy. Obviously, they're referencing the fact that they
call
are
it
3
the
belts.
Triple Crown Championship, they're keeping the legacy by implication. I agree.
Yeah.
If they do that.
It could be separated out later. I have to imagine that's their intention, because what if New Japan gets upset and takes their ball and goes home?
Yeah, because it's forming like a permanent link between AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan.
Right. Really good for their relationship. And that's the reason I don't hate it. And what a fun title to defend around. Honestly, in the long run, it could bring more prestige to the Ring of Honor title.
I think this could go really well.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it's gonna.
My money is on Ospreay joining the tournament and winning the whole thing now.
Yeah, he'd make a great first Triple Crown champion. He could bring legitimacy to the title. My heart bleeds for Eddie Kingston to win it. because Eddie Kingston deserves it.
He's getting up there. I don't know how much longer he's going to be, in the ring. And he has his title reign, and it's been pretty good. If he loses it by, I don't know, when is this thing over with? At World's End or whatever?
Sure. They're doing we're doing our whole America's making its own G1 with blackjack and hookers. And to be clear, I've never given a single fuck about the G1 Classic, so I don't know that I'll care about this one either. Blackjack and hookers notwithstanding.
I do like that it's a round-robin tournament, just for the sake of being different.
I mean, you don't see a lot of those in wrestling. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
And they could definitely win me over if it becomes like, as I understand the G1 is, like the one-upsmanship Olympics, where every wrestler in the thing strives to blow the others off stage.
I'm just not sure about running at least 2 tournaments at the same time. I feel like there's a third, but
it muddles
maybe
your
I
shit
dreamed
around.
it. Yeah, it's just kind of silly. Like, it's just a big silly thing. Especially, and now if they keep the TV title tournament exclusively to Ring of Honor, fine.
Yeah, if we don't see that, then fine. Who cares?
It's not going to confuse anything. But if we're seeing some of those matches on AEW, that's just confusing. I don't know what's happening.
So that's been 10 minutes. That is, we have gone longer than the match itself. Shall we move along?
Well, there was a lot to say. Not much to say about the next one. Buddy Matthews and Claudio Castagnoli decided to fight, and I don't know, they exchanged some harsh words on the combined Collision Rampage, and so they are here on the pre-show. It was a really good match. Claudio won by submission of all things.
Yep. Poor punished Buddy Matthews. He feels like the jobber of the House of Black, who are themselves not doing great right now.
We spent a good 5 minutes talking about the titles and tournaments, and there's a wrestling RPG to name for you. So I'm not going to go into this too long, but I had a lot of frustration with AEW booking these last couple of months. A lot of decisions, a lot of people hired, a lot of people close enough to being hired as to make me uncomfortable. A lot of really weird decisions with the titles, a lot of unfortunate injuries causing problems. House of Black is one of those people. I don't know why they lost the Trios titles. I mean, like, on paper, I know why they lost the Trios titles, but I feel like that was a stupid decision, and therefore I've decided to ignore its validity.
I mean, yeah, look, if we're down to brass tacks here, they lost the Trios titles because insert gif of Doug Walker, the view count disagrees.
Sure.
Like, one of these teams moves more merchandise than the other, and that's about the size of it. Which is shit, and says shit things about AEW fans, because House of Black merch must be fucking killer. They look so cool all the time.
I don't know, man. I don't know. They're way better in the ring. I'll give them that 100%. Yeah, I expected Buddy to lose this one, but I expected that to mean other things later in the show. We also had the pre-show match, MJF teaming up with Samoa Joe after a great amount of deliberation to defend the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against my sons, the Guns.
I actually would have been fine with either outcome here. They managed to book this in such a way that I wouldn't have minded MJF and Joe losing, and I wouldn't have minded the Guns losing. I really like Samoa Joe's mercenary angle here, where he was just basically pitching himself as a sword for hire, with the price being MJF gives him another title shot, which is, I like that. I think that's really good storytelling. I don't like that Joe vacated his own title voluntarily. That upsets me greatly.
It was just so stupid. And I didn't even think about it at the time, but the easy out there is the old triple threat match, and Joe doesn't get pinned.
Yeah, you have Keith Lee pin a third guy in that match, because Joe successfully defended his title and then vacated it right after. Which makes that guy who just lost look like a tool, and makes Joe is now currently a quantum idiot. He is either a humongous mastermind if he beats MJF for the title, or he's a fucking moron if he vacated his own title to go after the world title and loses. And we won't get to know until we collapse the wave function and they have a match, but I have a theory.
Yeah, I mean, it's Joe, so, like, of anybody, he's the one who can recover from that, but that advocates more for this to have just been a triple threat in the first place. Like, if it wasn't for the second tournament, and perhaps third, running a tournament for the TV title is a perfectly fine decision to make. But you already had a tournament you were doing.
And, like, look, even if it happens, once Joe loses, it's not going to be that big a deal because Samoa Joe is fucking excellent, so he'll just move right along and it won't matter.
Well, and that's why I was saying even if he'd been pinned for the title, it's Samoa Joe.
So, like, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. It's a nitpick, and it's one that I had to get out of my chest.
Sure, that could have been booked so many better ways. Something that I think ended up being booked really well, despite my many fears and concerns, was the six-man tag team match of Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne, the Patriarchy, against Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland.
Oh, side note, MJF and Samoa Joe did win their match.
Sorry. It was just
such a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. Well, I thought the Guns might take it. I thought there might be some nefarious shit going on.
I really would have been fine with it, but, like, unless some nefarious shit happened, the Guns were never winning this match on their own merits. I'll put it like that.
And they should, though.
I'm not disagreeing.
I just want good things for my boys. My poor fatherless sons.
But, yeah, the six-man tag, that match was fun. That was really good and really fun and had a lot of good, fun spots in it.
My biggest fear is Ric Flair, without going too deep into things. I don't know that he needs to be here, and I sure as hell don't want to see him wrestle. That being said, he managed to handle a spot better than the Big Show. Excuse me, Paul White.
Big Show is fine.
I love how at some point in the night when they were talking about things, Excalibur fucking poochied Paul White. He took that slam onto the car. I guess he's indefinitely injured forever and is probably never coming back.
Right after the slam, the best heel they have working, fucking Don Callis, goes, well, that was a career, I guess. Or just something to that effect.
It's rough, buddy.
But yeah, somehow Flair bumped better than Paul, despite Flair being essentially just like cocaine residue and old man cartilage at this point.
I absolutely love Christian gently shoving him.
Yes.
Just the most feather touch. And while doing his Christian mean mug. It was really very beautiful, actually.
Alright. I'm gonna say this thing. I will not elaborate and we will move on. The patriarchy is excellent.
There's your out of context soundbite.
Yeah,
folks.
give me
Have
that
fun with
5-second clip.
Yeah.
Cancel me with that.
Like I said, we don't need help.
But this is an excellent heel. I will actually elaborate because I want to, because they're good. That is such a fucking great name for a heel faction, especially given Christian's gimmick of is your father and loves mocking dead fathers. What an amazing name for this faction. That's so fucking... That's peak. That's great.
I am asking for him to whistle Camptown Races once.
One time.
That is my request.
There's gonna be shirts. People are gonna be buying the patriarchy shirts. They're gonna sell. I need you to understand that they'll sell.
What was that MMA guy? Remember when he was around? I thought I missed him, but no, he's still here in spirit. Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland win because Sting doesn't lose. Kind of hoping the old guy goes out on his back, but that's not been a rule in so long that I don't care anymore.
Yeah, basically. Side note, we do in the Discord, which you can join, we do a little thing for most AEW pay-per-views where we do predictions. I predicted that Sting was going to lose this match, I guess because I had a brief moment of complete and utter idiocy.
I really thought Flair was going to turn on him. I really thought Flair was going to turn on him to set up for their match, because AEW's booking of late has made me very pessimistic about what's about to happen.
I don't even know that I thought of that. I'm stupid. I'm a big old stupid, and I booked Sting to lose. Sting doesn't lose. What am I talking about?
And yet, unlike Goldberg, I'm not mad about it. You know why? Because he's Sting.
He's earned it. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Also, he does more wrestling than Goldberg.
Yeah. And he's nicer.
I haven't seen Goldberg throw himself off 19 way too high surfaces for my entertainment in his 60s or whatever.
He did headbutt that locker.
Yeah, and how'd that work out for him? Sting walked his shit off.
Yeah. Sting knocked 4 of his teeth out or whatever it was and was like, I'll be fine.
That's the business, and he just moved on with the match.
Speaking of moving along, Jon Moxley tried to take Orange Cassidy's International Championship. If you don't watch AEW and you just listen to our podcast, what a weird life you must lead. But also, you might be like, hang on. Last time we talked, Jon Moxley beat Orange Cassidy for that championship. What happened?
What happened is it turns out everyone explode.
Yeah, a curse was placed upon the title, perhaps by Danhausen. And Mox got injured in a match with Fenix, who was already injured and only got even more injured.
In that match. Mox.
And so OC picked the belt back up because everyone sort of just threw their arms into the air full of papers backstage.
And went, I guess put it back on Orange. We got nothing. Everyone's dead. In case of emergency, break glass. Orange Cassidy is behind the glass.
You break the glass and he goes, hey.
I could have just opened the door, but okay.
This was a pretty good match for what it was. It was a lot of orange punches. It was, I believe, by the end of it, 6 orange punches and 2 beach breaks.
But Jon Moxley lost.
Because of 6 orange punches and 2 beach breaks. But the man did the job. And that's good. That's the ending I wanted to see to this storyline. Not only because I don't care for the character of Jon Moxley. We'll leave my opinions of John Good to the side. They're conflicted. I don't know the man. He seems weird, though. But I think it's good for the storyline as well. It's funny, and this has echoes later on. We're not marks. We don't believe the product is just a genuine thing we're seeing each week. We know it's a show with actors who are also acrobatic athletes. But sometimes I really just want to see the hero win. Sometimes you just want to see the match go off without a hitch.
So, here's the thing. I also want that in shows I watch. I don't know why that's considered strange.
Well, yeah, you know how I watch Game of Thrones, so.
I want, ultimately, most of the time, I want the good guy to win. Unless I don't like him for some reason. So, it makes sense. And, being as we are aware it's a show, and more than that, it's a series, which will have to continue on forever. Can't be sunshine all the time. You gotta play the down notes, too. The heel's gotta be able to get heat to get the face over.
And it's a criticism we've had about AEW's booking before, that, the heels don't get to win a whole lot. They don't get to look legit, and that's not good.
Jon Moxley is a very neutral character.
Yes.
He is a face. He is a face sometimes. He is a heel sometimes. He is not the good guy and not the bad guy, but he believes himself to be the guy. And so he's the 10,000-pound gorilla in a lot of matches. You have to really try to put him down, but I am very glad that this happened, and I'm very glad that there was not shenaniganry. With, the Blackpool Combat Club, and then best friends come out to fight them, and then there's the fucking minivan shows up. I'm glad none of that shit happened. These 2 men fought, and Orange Cassidy won. Simple. Clean.
That is nice. Our next contest is Hikaru Shida defending her title against timeless Toni Storm with Luther. Good glow up for Luther. Very happy for him. Also, since the last time we spoke, good glow up for Toni Storm.
Timeless Toni Storm is the best thing going in the AEW women's division, and it's not close.
Some might argue that it is the cameraman. And if you want to get that joke, you should hang out with us on Discord. Link in the link tree. This was probably the worst match on the card, but it wasn't bad. Sometimes Hikaru Shida is a little off. Sometimes Toni Storm is a little off. I think they both found some synergy here, except for the final spot. But it was what it was, and I think they made the best of it.
I love the final spot because it worked in character for Toni Storm. Toni Storm did not give Hikaru long enough to get into position for the final move.
She had to have just been not looking at her.
Yeah, and she ran forward too soon, and Hikaru wasn't in position yet, so she had to go. So she spiked the camera. Her current gimmick, again, if you only watch us and not AEW, strange person, but thank you, is a kind of a parody of an old world Audrey Hepburn actress. And so she spikes the lens, directly looks into hard cam, her hands fly up to her mouth oh dear, I'm off my mark, darling. And she runs back and then hits her spot. And it was honestly really funny. If it wasn't clearly on accident, I would have thought it was on purpose.
But she secures a victory. She's your new women's champ.
Great choice, honestly. She's a hot act. She's a meme. There's memes of her on social media. Put the title on the hot act is not a bad call. I feel a little bad for Hikaru Shida, aka the championship placeholder edition.
I feel like Shida had to have been literally a transitional champion. I think something happened with Saraya.
Well, yeah, she probably just wasn't cleared to continue.
Yeah,
wrestling.
I mean, she might have gotten hurt or something.
Her stuff, much like, Adam Copeland, we never really expected Saraya back.
Right.
So,
right.
And we haven't really seen her much since she lost the title.
Yeah. She's supposed to be coming back soon, maybe even this week. But I feel like the storyline would have been cleaner. I feel like that had to have been the original shot for this match to have been against Saraya. I'm glad they gave Shida some time, and they gave her some defenses for it. It wasn't like it was a bad run. It was just a short run.
It was condensed.
Yeah, it didn't feel
she
like
had
that.
It was, good storyline, good, iconic, I don't remember the specific term, but a history-making run. I think she's the first
Sure.
three-time AEW Women's Champion. That's good. I do wish she had some longer runs, because she deserves them, because of all the work she's put in. But at the same time, I understand why she doesn't, because other acts are more charismatic than her on, camera.
Yeah. So that moves us to the four-way tag team ladder match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. AEW has transitioned to plastic ladders, and I am so glad. Every time they use those shrinky-dink aluminum foil ones,
I'm worried someone's going to get, something cut off.
It's like they set them up and the ladders collapse upon themselves as though imploding.
Yeah, I don't know what extra dimensional market you're buying these at, TK, but just go to the plastic ones. That's fine.
They were great. And this was a really great ladder match, even though I really didn't care about the match.
This match had no build-up for me because most of it happened on Collision.
And we stopped watching Collision because CM Punk left?
No, we stopped well before he was gone.
Oh, that's right, we did. It does look like that, though, because he wasn't around much longer after that.
We stopped watching Collision because there's a maximum amount of pro wrestling I can watch every week, and that's over it. So, unless Collision had something real good on the card, I have other shit I want to do.
Yeah, it just hasn't been up to snuff. I don't like the vibe there.
It is slightly different.
Yeah, I like a lot of the people on the roster, but I'm just not getting what I want out of a wrestling show.
But in any case, the match was great.
Yeah, the participants being Kings of the Black Throne, FTR, La Facción Ingobernable, and Ricky Starks and Big Bill, your current, and after this match, still current, tag team champions.
I had to think that they were going to put the championship on someone else, because that's why you do a ladder match, is to change the title holder without having to have the current champs lose. So you protect Ricky Starks and Big Bill's, unexpected chemistry and heat with each other, or Heat together, but still put the title on maybe a real tag team.
Yeah, I mean, all credit to Big Billy Blue Shoes. I really thought this was, well, originally, as I understand it, from the scuttlebutts, FTR was supposed to win their titles back in this match. As time went on, it seemed less and less likely, and I really thought they were going to give it to Kings of the Black Throne because they've been making a name for themselves again, or to put it on Roosh and Duralistico to kind of get them over. They're really clearly trying to build them on Collision. The least likely choice won, and I understand why from later in the show, and I hate it.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. I would have much preferred they put this on Kings of the Black Throne, just in and of the match itself, because they're my favorite tag team in this match by a pretty wide margin. I'm not gonna lie, it is fully that. That is the only reason, but I genuinely thought it was gonna be FTR, so it was a surprise.
Yeah. However, what was both predicted and a surprise is the next contest, the TBS Championship. Kris Statlander defending against Skye Blue in her new, sort of goth scene kid phase, and Julia Hart, who, through spit, caused her new sort of goth scene kid phase.
I'm happy for Skye Blue that she's got something more going on than just blue chipper. Joke clearly intentional. But she's kind of biting Julia Hart's shtick. And they're feuding about it, so that makes sense. But Kris Statlander, despite being the champion, kind of felt like the third wheel in this match as a result.
She's the head founder and CEO of was Globo Gym? She's a member.
She's at the very least a member of the Purple Cobras.
Yeah. What a weird and consistent decision she's made to reference / homage. We've seen the Joker and Spider-Man and Batman and the cool bug guy from Mexican TV whose name escapes me off the top of my head.
Master Chief,
Sephiroth. Ben Stiller characters from comedies he's done back in the aughts was not on my bingo card.
Yes, if she comes out dressed as his character from Tropic Thunder next, I feel like someone should tell Ben.
I think someone did actually, and he appreciated it. They're back in the Zoolander one, but I'm pulling for Starsky and Hutch. It's in the same vein comedically as those other films. I don't know.
Do both. What's stopping?
Sure, yeah.
I love this. This it's a great gimmick.
Well, and she's not an alien anymore, so she's got to do something. I feel like that's
to make herself stand out.
Yeah, and this is working. Just keep pumping those arms, and you'll stand out just fine. I feel. But Julia Hart is actually our victor here,
which I really like. Julia Hart is cool. This has been an amazing. This whole Julia Hart. Her current gimmick is great, and I remember her gimmick when I first started watching AEW, and I'm very happy for her.
I feel very good watching her with the black makeup on her eye, sitting on the sidelines on the stairs, ignoring Griff Garrison and whoever that other guy was, and just, the whole...
I think his name's King now.
I don't think he is.
I can't speak to that. I just know that that's what he prefers to be called.
Rest in peace, Smash Mouth guy, Steve Harwell. A true king if there ever was one. But we figured Julia Hart was going to win here. The surprise was, this was all really solid. Skye Blue can be pretty hit or miss in the ring. This was a really fun, really good match, and I really enjoyed it.
Were it not for some absurd shit that happens later, this might have ended up being my match of the night.
It would have been the tag team championship match. It was a really good ladder match.
For me, this one I enjoyed more. It was really fun, and it was tightly paced. It didn't have as much time as the tag team title match, but there were no misses. There wasn't dead time. I really liked this triple threat.
It was pretty solid.
But it was not match of the night because of some shit that happens later.
Talking about that Golden Jets match, huh?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It must be meaning Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in the most violent Texas death match I have ever seen.
I've been watching wrestling for a long time. Basically since I've been sentient. I've never seen a guy drink another man's blood before.
I have, but it wasn't as...
I've seen guys lick bleeding dudes.
Yes.
I have never seen a man drink another man's blood like it was from a Capri Sun before.
Somewhere Gangrel feels
Barney
really stupid
at
right
Moe's.
now. Yeah.
Just over the counter, head under the tap, faucet on.
And that wasn't even the worst of it.
That was the beginning of the match. That happened in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah. This was insane. I am oldered. I loved hardcore wrestling. I still kind of do. But man, the more violent it gets these days, the more I worry for the wrestlers. And this one actually made me a little nauseous. I had to have a breath mint to calm down the old tum-tum.
I'm still just young enough that I can connect with the 20-year-old me who would have been out of his chair screaming.
Well, all that said, and it was really cool, and it probably was match of the night. There's some pretty tough contenders, but I mean, yeah, probably edges everything else out. It was incredible. What a feat from these two men. What emotion they packed into this. And the first leg of this feud being as craptacular as it was, very impressive. I think the two big calls, the two big surprises, come in the form of what we alluded to earlier about interference.
This match was stellar in all aspects. It was clearly a 5-star classic. In terms of the death match, it was up there with like Orton, Mick Foley Triple H, the Cactus Jack classics of old. It was absolutely on its way to perfection. And then the fucking Swolverine shows up and ruins it. Just shits all over it. I was so fully 100% mad when that happened. And look, I was being worked. That happened in order to make me angry, and it did. It worked. I was worked. I was 100% fully pissed that this guy would dare to interrupt these men's glorious war. This duel of honor, and you are sullying it. Notably, all of the shenanigans that Prince Nana pulled throughout the match, those are fine. He's the heel manager, that's baked into the pie, those didn't upset me. Swolverine coming in did. And it worked me fully. I have calmed down about it since, but when I was actually rating the match on live, I took 2 whole stars off because of this. I was just fully mad. They were fighting like men, how dare you.
It did have an impact, and I think it didn't end at the right beat. They maybe should have done it a beat before. It kind of lost some of the momentum. The other surprising thing is that Swerve Strickland won again. He has won twice in this feud. Now, I've heard recently that some folks are going to be taking time off. Oh, what do you know? The holiday season, and they're going to take time off? What a big surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if Hangman was involved in that taking time off. And that might be a good excuse for him to go away for a while. Does this feud continue after that? That's a question.
I'm perfectly fine with Swerve having won. I don't know that it was the right call. But it made a star, so I don't know that it's the wrong call either.
Yeah.
But do you make that star when you still can't trust him with a live microphone?
Yeah, that is an issue.
Like, they know the problem with Swerve's live promos. They didn't let him do a promo on the Go Home show.
They didn't let him do a live promo the entire time, the entire second leg of this feud.
Swerve's video packages, where he is produced and has time to do takes and that shit. He's a great actor. They're excellent. They exude menace and power. He comes across as a super villain. It's amazing. If you put a live microphone in that guy's hands, he will invariably shit the bed.
And I would even be willing to believe that those taped promos are one take. I would believe that. It's not been offered to me, but like, just for the sake of argument, I would believe it. Something about the man in front of the crowd.
It just doesn't work. He doesn't exude menace. He comes across like someone pretending to be the meme version of the Joker. He comes across try-hard live. He comes across villainous taped. And he needs to be able to square that circle for all of the favors that Hangman Adam Page just did him. And rest assured, from the perspective of protecting Hangman Adam Page's character, Swerve just got a huge favor done for him. To make good on that favor, he's gonna have to be able to square that circle. I need him to be able to cut a fucking promo.
That or just let Prince Nana talk for him.
That's fine too.
Yeah. The following contest was scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Thank you. This was, I believe you were the one who read it online, but this was Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson. 3 EVPs and 1
spiritual EVP.
Spiritual EVP. In your piss break time slot.
Just after this absolute fucking war, this 30 minutes of like a slasher movie, where the crowd is exhausted and I'm exhausted and mad. These guys took the absolute shit pile, the shittiest spot on this card, and tried to make hay out of it.
And good on them. They didn't force anybody else to go in here. Neither of the women's matches, neither of the lesser title matches. It was their dumb vanity bullshit.
Their dumb little incestuous fucking EVP storyline where they're all mean girls at each other for some unbeknowable fucking reason.
I have theories, but I don't find merit in going into them here. I am upset with Chris Jericho for blowing what was a really good storyline by immediately turning face after it was finished. And
Chris Jericho is a study in contrast. He'll win me back.
Yeah, it'll happen. I'm not.
He can decide to just be gold at any point. He's currently deciding to be an insufferable pile of shit, and I don't know why. I don't understand why he would do this.
The match itself was pretty good. It had Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks in it. Of course it was. Chris Jericho even held up his end of the bargain. I don't remember anything being particularly botchy.
No.
But God, there's nothing to say about it.
I praise you to taking extra special care to make sure to mention the word botcha every time we talk about Chris Jericho, because it upsets him.
You know, I do what I can. This was for the contendership for the tag team championships, which makes me even more upset that the Golden Jets won, because we have 4 thrown together singles wrestlers in tag team championship match. In a fed full of tag teams.
AEW has so many really cool, fucking, really good tag teams. Why are 3... they're trying to make Ricky Starks a main event talent. So why are 3 main event talents and Big Bill in the tag team title scene now? What the fuck is that?
I'm not saying that you can't do this. It's just...
Why would you bother?
Why have you done this?
You have so many cool tag teams who could be doing their own shit with this. Why are you horning in on their turf?
It makes me grumpy. And I've had a lot of theories, and I feel like a lot of the AEW and Ring of Honor titles have been heavily devalued in the last couple months. And this doesn't help the tag straps. And the tag straps were one of the ones that weren't doing that bad. However, I do feel like all of the titles are looking better, with the exception of the tag straps, after this show. And the trios titles, because they weren't even fucking on here, because the team who has them is a joke. So let's talk about the main event storyline.
I want this to be good. Because I really... MJF is my favorite currently active wrestler That's simple. You probably will have figured that out by now.
Not Ric Flair?
No. And I really like Jay White. I think he's a really good talent. I like his weird, kind of relaxed Kiwi promos. I love Bullet Club Gold as a faction. I wanted this storyline to be good. But it's been too confusing. They have got too many cooks in this kitchen.
I think the problem might be that because they know the answer to the question, who is the devil, the man behind the devil mask who attacked first Jay White and then the Acclaimed, that they're not doing a great job of giving us leads, or they're doing too good of a job obfuscating the truth.
It's reached the point where no one makes sense.
And everyone kind of makes sense. For example, MJF could be the devil. Of course he took out his opponent. And then he orchestrated the annoying people that were bothering him to get the shit beat out of them.
But he was actively in the ring when that one happened.
Sure, but like there are masks. And I think the devil in that sense only popped up on a clearly pre-recorded bit of, videotape. I think everybody else backstage was just the ninjas.
I don't remember that. I believe it. I remember just cutting and he was off to the side, but
maybe.
Could have been one or the other. I mean, look,
we were really busy making jokes about glass at the time, so I wasn't paying that much attention.
But the devil storyline doesn't make any sense. It is incoherent. No one makes sense, and in the syndrome sense, if everyone makes sense, no one makes sense to be the devil. And it rendered what should have been the big main part of the feud, of the world title feud, Jay White pulling one of my favorite wrestling gimmicks, guy steals the title and pretends he's the champion, into a sideshow. Now, this is in service of a cool thing, which is building MJF as the embattled champion with all of these many enemies all circling him all the time. But it did a disservice to Jay White and Bullet Club Gold in the doing so.
I mean, I don't know that I agree with that, but you like Jay White more than I do. I see Jay White as jobber to the stars. He's good, he's incredible, but what he's most incredible at is making other people look good.
Jay White sees Jay White as jobber to the stars.
Yeah,
it is fairly clear.
Yeah. And I don't... this is one of those things. And you know what? It's perfect symmetry to what happened at this pay-per-view. Devil aside. In fact, I don't think the devil made an appearance.
He did not, which is another thing that makes it strange. He should have, for the story to make sense.
Should he have, or should he have? Because what happens at the pay-per-view is that... after the tag match, the Guns king-ized MJF's leg. They took him away in an ambulance. Adam Cole showed up to root for his friend. And while MJF is being taken away, he's shouting after Cole, "Don't let them take my title.
Promise me you won't let them take my title."
Yeah, so he does. Jay White comes out on stage. I don't remember when this happened during the show, but I haven't been paying that much attention.
After the first couple matches. It was pretty early.
Well, during the weeks, I'm sorry. Apparently, there was a stipulation in play. Maybe it was when Jay demanded the title in the first place or something. I don't know. They didn't signpost this well, or they didn't signpost this at all. But in the event that MJF was unable to defend the title, or tried to walk out on the match or whatever, the title would default to Jay White.
Oh, they just didn't signpost this at all? This was just a thing they randomly made up that isn't usually how it works, which is my least favorite thing in wrestling.
Yeah, I hate it. Just let me know beforehand. But, sometimes you don't have that option.
The dumb rules can be whatever you want the dumb rules to be, but you do have to say them before they're immediately a part of things. Otherwise, you are just playing Calvin Ball.
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking play Calvin Ball.
So Jay's like, "Yay, I get my title." Here comes Adam Cole, and he says, "Actually, I talked to Tony Khan, and he said that I can defend the title in Max's place."
I also don't like this. Not just because Cole is, as far as I'm aware, very injured. but because the world title doesn't have a fucking Freebird rule. This isn't Game of Thrones. You can't nominate a champion. That's not how this works.
Well, and under the circumstances, again, if they had signposted this, it would make a bit of sense. Clearly, Bullet Club were not being...
You guys were being dicks, so Tony went, well, I can also be a dick.
Or Tony went, you have no foot, and you're not going to win. So, I mean, yeah, sure, let's have a main event that people are excited about. That sounds good for me, Tony. Since our previous main event is canceled.
Tony went, I would like a main event to my show, please. You would like to do that? That's fine.
You get to your main event, Adam Cole gets in the ring, it's all about ready to go, and, of course, MJF comes out.
Having stolen the ambulance that he was wheeled away in. Another of my favorite things in pro wrestling. This entire show was a study in contrasts.
For the sake of brevity, and because I'm trying to make a point here, through a really, really, really good match between these two guys, MJF defends his title, and he and Cole embrace afterward and celebrate. There is no devil. There is no nothing. When it was finished, something that was stupid at 2 turns became pretty good. We got the last piece, and I liked this story. I think it could have been done better, but overall, I'm pleased with how it went. The story of this pay-per-view, this match. The last set of promos on the Go Home show for Dynamite were... Mid.
It was the worst MJF promo I've ever heard. It was still pretty good.
And it just felt like there was nothing really going on in this angle. What happened at the pay-per-view really built it up for me. It was hard to tell who was going to walk out, even though it made way more sense for MJF to retain his title because of the millions of contender storyline they've been building up. It became a question because he was pretending to work so injured. It made it more interesting, and I appreciated it for that. When we get to the end of the Devil storyline, it might be super interesting. The Devil might explain their motivations. We might have a couple more turns of the screw. We'll get there and be like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
I imagine it's going to be, they decided on something that makes kind of sense if you don't think about it too hard.
And it might be. It is unfortunately wrestling. We do have curveballs. Please see your international championship. It's hard to say. Now, look, I've heard that the Devil was decided when the storyline started.
I do have the theory that it was, and it was supposed to be Cole, and then his ankle fucking exploded, and they decided to move forward with the Devil storyline anyway, because they don't know how to pivot.
Well, and it also might be a really good storyline, and his ankle being exploded, while it will draw it out a little longer, doesn't hurt it necessarily, and that might be the reason we've suddenly gotten this injection of all of these contenders for MJF. Just people for him to face until we can pull it off, and Cole removes the mask, and we're there. Or it could be Roddy. Or it could be...
Or it could be that it was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, the real Devil was the friends we made along the way.
I'm tired, boss. I want this storyline to make sense, but it's just...
I think the key to that is to not invest yourself so hard in it. I think... So this is my wrestling philosophy in general. It's why I don't armchair book. It's never going to be as good as you want it to be. Unless it is. But that's been why Adam Cole and MJF has been so good at all. Is because it never should have been as good as it is. I fully expected Cole to turn on MJF tonight. And be a manager for the rest of his little Devil stable, cackling and being evil. Or tonight, I say, the pay-per-view. It's Monday. But he didn't. And in that, it even more cements that they are best friends. Which will make either his inevitable betrayal that much more painful for our hero MJF, or that he is still standing at MJF's side when whatever nefarious force reveals itself that much stronger.
Man, I just had an image in my head of, the Devil finally does their reveal, and it's, I don't care, fucking Stokely Hathaway, who gives a shit?
That'd be really good.
I actually would love that, unironically.
Yeah, I know, it is really good, because it bleeds into the imagery from before. He has reasons to be mad at MJF. It's
he was the reason that, he was the faction that the Devil was with in the first place, when it was MJF with the Devil mask.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I really kind of do want it. That's my personal little pet hope, is that it's Stokely, but I don't. Anyway, they do the reveal, and like MJF is beset on all sides by 9 ninjas, and we haven't seen MJF. There haven't been video calls, or we haven't seen Cole in months. There have been video calls. There are no video calls, no nothing. Haven't seen him in a couple months at all. And then, like, as MJF is beset on all sides, bereft of all allies, Cole's music hits. The pop from me would be legendary, let alone the audience.